Nilawal Anne Poelina, Yimardoowarra Marninil, Mandajara Nygina, Nygina Nganka, Nyikina. My name is Anne Poelina. I'm a traditional owner from the lower Fitzroy River, and I'm speaking today on Nygina country. As a Nygina person, we are told very, very early in our upbringing, and part of our cultural identity is the story of Wunyambul and how Wunyambul created the river, and part of that is the song cycle. The song cycle is the whole story that talks about the creation of the river, and through that the journey of our ancestor Wunyambul, and how Wunyambul travelled along the river with his family, naming the places from the very beginning of the river right through to a very significant place called Nygina. Everyone who has an association with the river, whether they're Aboriginal or not, talk about how important the river is. And so for Nygina people, it is a special, it's a special place. It's a sense of our whole creation. It's a sense of who we are as Yimardoowarra people. Yimardoowarra means belonging to the river.
Nganga, Nyangana Buru, Yimardoowarra Nganga, Bugarara, Yimardoowarra.
We talk about Unjumo, Nygina you talk.
Malo Kamalinga, you never Kamalita, he's on the Yimardoowarra, he's on the river. We come here talking about the story. Nganga yang arinya nganga, pangalagara jibaba ni, ubani, chukuru ni, Nygina nganga, rule ginjana.
One name now, Nygina Creek, Nygina. No, Nygina. All the way from Murli and walk, I am just Majala. Look on what all?
Wunyambul. Moklema Wujumaman. Palo Pulere. Chal Pulere Balo Mokchi Majala Mok Lemai Pache Mok Korwane Wela Pojo Mijalana Rajwangare Baloga finish him right and no more left nothing.
When you mean that any kind of thing, any kind of feed, any kind of fish and feed.
Even find them now, Nygina. That's what all. Right? Even see all the fish for one. You have been poisoning them. What all? You have been poisoning them. Finish.
This Nygina, where they've been talking about this water for fish like this, and they've been poisoning my beer. All this little rock here behind me, that's full of rock they've been putting but for fish, to kill the fish.
Kuwak yusiran, kirimulas pia. Pambogar, majeriwal gara manandet. Nyakadin maman, nyakadin ibru. Mijala. In ngolakan ke putin kan wanjar. Ngolom ba, beal. Ngango. Paya. Lakiran. Ngondong anyuana ramaji wela.
And take him a fish. Take him what they've been poisoning him, take him, give him his wife.
Malo laurinji, malo caramba, malo walanga, malo parijar. Kurang amaginya na chal. Ngedga bojong orange. Miliar ngulin manjalan jalan miliar. Kululululululululu irin. Kedariran. Wanyang ngulin manjalan kulululululu.
Dia ni Wunyambul. when even came yet younger or crap. Even if I'm going to make it about finish.
Winjungu been start before the Yimardoowarra River. That binding coming from Wunjumu, and we gotta talk about Wunjumu, and we teacher make him good. Everyone might look back. Young people, new generation, the Wunjumu might bring him up and make him work.
He made a rule. He made a rule. Rule for what you gotta eat, what you can touch him, don't touch him. You gotta do it the right way, properly.
Wunjumu is a boss for river.
Next time, when you go river, you can hear them there sing out. When we're fishing, we can hear them there. Ooh! Oh, who's singing out what? They sing out. That's the only one now.
Nygina people are the Yimardoowarra people, the traditional owners of the lower Fitzroy River in the West Kimberley region of Western Australia. My name is Magali McDuffie. I have been working with Nygina women for the past 6 years, first as a filmmaker and now also more recently as a PhD researcher. Nygina women chose the medium of film over 20 years ago to record their cultural activities and their stories for educational purposes, but also to document what is happening in their communities with community-based projects, the native title process, and the current political fight against the mining industry in the Kimberley. Through film, Nygina women have chosen to tell their stories spanning 80 years, 3 generations, and very different lived experiences. This is a Yimardoowarra Marninil story, which in Nygina means the story of Nygina women from the inside to the outside, and of the men who support them. So I'm only here as the filmmaker, as the witness, with a camera, recording the stories that Nygina women want to tell the outside world. In a sort of circular storytelling way, this film retraces our conversations over the past 6 years and centers around the lives of 3 Nygina women, Lucy Marshall, Jeannie Wabi and Anne Poelina, and their commitment to protecting the culture and country of Nygina people.
I was born on Mount Anderson, but my mother was grow up in Libringa because my grandfather took all his family back there. The 2 brothers got shot. As we was growing up on that side of the river, Fitzroy, people used to walk from here, from Mount House, to visit my family in Upper Libringa and Mount Anderson. Walk. No riding horse, no motorcar, and walk back up this way to work. And these say history, what I've been told. I know who I am. I know I speak my language. I speak Bunava, I speak Mangala, because I grew up on Mangala on the other side of the river. Good family, right down to Ida, right down to Derby. Derby is a Nygina town. Nobody changes anything. You don't change nothing. White man can change his rule, but black fellow don't change it. Even a God don't change his rule. Once one, never bend. It still belongs there. You can go on this side of the boundary, but you have to be aware. You go this side, it's still the same. My family, I don't think they're going to change. They know who they are. They can go visit their own country, their grandparents' country, their grandmother's country, their great-grandmother's country. They can still visit, as long as they know who they are. We still got our young generation. We're still bringing up their rights, what their rights are in their own country. We might have grandparents from overseas, but we are still Australian Aboriginals.
My name is Jeannie Wabi. I'm from here. I've been born in Yimardoowarra. Ungal got a place for a name, that place now, that side. This one here, Mangle Creek. White man name Mangle Creek and black for a name Pudungon Gurai. My grandfather been bring me here, little one time, and big one. I know this place. This is my country. My grandfather's country. This one now. This river. Kalangan manjari ya. Alea. Pono. Male minalar ngarga. Nyado wani luar boleh ya, nyado ngana. Kalau ngara megia. Nilai dia. We came here a long time. We never near first time. All right. Clean water. Living water, this one. Living water, this one. You never finish it, this water. Living water, this one. We want them. You can grow along this water.
I was born in Broome and I grew up in Broome. So Broome's my home, it's where I spent my childhood, it's where I first had my association with Yawuru traditional owners. I've done, lots of interesting things with my life. I originally went into nursing and then decided to go into the field of education. I've been an academic, I've been a lecturer, I've nursed all over the state, and a few years ago I wrote a doctoral thesis looking at the impact of colonisation on Nygina people and the influences of government. And the most important thing that I found in my thesis was that to some extent government has actually contributed to Aboriginal disadvantage, and in particular Nygina people in the West Kimberley region of Western Australia. So several years ago when I was working in Lismore, I had a phone call from my cousin brother Robert Watson, and there was an invitation to come out to Bulgunja community and start to build on the dreams that we had talked to my uncle Ivan Watson about. And so there was a great opportunity to come back to country and to have a home and to have a sense of belonging, a sense of space, a sense of this was my traditional lands, because this was where my mother was conceived and this is where she grew up and spent her childhood. So it's such a wonderful place, and I knew from the moment that I first turned up there that I felt a sense of peace and a sense of belonging and a connectedness to that country. There's many memories that are on that place that I know that I'm now sharing, that my mother shared. To be able to lay out in the night sky and look up and see the stars and think, well, this is what my mother saw and this is what my grandmother saw.
Throughout the past century, Nygina people have had to adapt and respond to different waves of government policies aimed at marginalising Nygina people living independently on their land. The colonisation of the Kimberley first started roughly around 1879 with the arrival of Alexander Forrest and his exploration team. The report that he wrote about this expedition was very enthusiastic about the vast floodplains of the Fitzroy River, about a rich and bountiful country, and it literally spelt the end of life as Nygina people had known it for thousands of years. Because pastoralists in the south and the east, hearing about the report, were very eager to claim their stake in this newly discovered area. And this happened at lightning fast speed. Bassi, in his book in 1915, points out that by 1881, 5.5 million acres had been leased, and that by the end of June 1882, this figure had trebled. Historical documents, police reports, newspaper articles of the time really only give a glimpse of what life must have been like during this violent period of colonisation for Aboriginal people in the Kimberley. We know that some massacres occurred in different places in the Kimberley. We know that people were executed for not respecting the white man's law. We know that people were put in jail for cattle or sheep spearing. We know that people were taken away by force from their ancestral lands to come into the towns of Broome and Derby, brought in as cheap labour for the pastoralist industry, for the pearling industry on the coast, to build roads, in chain gangs. So this was an extremely violent period which really shook the foundations of Nygina society to their core.
I think it's really important to understand history, to understand pre-colonisation and post-colonisation, understanding how the Kimberley was developed and how that relates to how different parts of Australia was developed. For instance, some of the practices that white people practice in Sydney, they were still practicing it over here 130 years later in the Kimberleys. They were still culling people out for the purpose of just getting people off the country.
People been a little bit weak from chain, from hitting. Career been hit him, or track have been hit him with that whip from stick. And I've been still working strong from hold that whip from career been hit me all the time, trap me with a stick or the chain. With that rope, that pickly one rope, hit me. Blood come waste and Nabaco Hospital and still working. I'm in a child house in all my place. Look at one of them. Hold people from long way. All the police force. And they've been working here. Cut them people from long way station, bring them up here for courts. And I've been still here. And I've been looking at all the people from station and pushman people do, with the sign and all that tree, that two white tree, tied up with the people, tied up with the whole people, and tied up looking down.
Then you look at how it was sought to stop killing people. Then the assimilation policies came in and they were putting people either into missions or people became fringe dwellers on the stations. living on the outskirts of stations because they saw them as an important part of labour to build these industries.
Young time and we've been working here. Working like a missus. Working here, plate, washing plate. When we're ready, we'll lay table. We put them knife and fork. Missus never put them. And we put them lay table. This kind of, we knock off work and we go camp and finish a little bit of our rest and come back and have a shower and we lay table now. All right. And we get them that plate, we wash them, put them away. And we wait now, putting now. We're washing again, putting, clean up everything, kitchen, clean up table, chair, floor, clean up, put away everything. At work, we could wash clothes now. You know, washing, we're washing like that. We're boiling copper, seed and everything, we boil them. Right, we take a mud, we rinse a mud now, rinse a mud. And this kind, every one sheet. Rinse a mud, we hang them up now. Hang them up, hard work. Wash them this kind. That's why I got a week now, this one, from work. You know what kind of white man? You don't have merely supper. Gotta wait. Gotta wait until late. You have supper. When we go there, everybody sleep. Working hard. No money. We never have money. And we only get them clothes, free clothes and soap and blanket, and mosquito net. That's all we get them. And clothes. That's all. And tobacco.
So throughout this time of suffering, of violence, of radical cultural upheaval, Nygina people somehow managed to maintain their culture and language. And today their ceremonies and their Bogarara stories, their stories from the dream time, are very much alive and part of Nygina everyday life, and still unite the past, the present and the future for Nygina people.
The sort of cultural knowledge is, it's in a sense, it can be very unifying for the generations. It can be what brings people together. Especially while I was young, growing up out on the station, I was involved in a lot of the cultural camps and things that were being run. So I can say, in terms of my own experience, what being part of culture was like, and going out bush and hunting and hearing the stories, hearing Wunyumbul, I can say it was really valuable to me.
We have a duty of care to transmit the knowledge from the elders to the young people. We have a duty of care to grow new leaders, not just Nygina leaders, but new leaders who will lead the Kimberley into the future. In the very beginning, one of the things that the leaders, particularly our chairperson Lucy Marshall, wanted was to be able to have and build the Nygina Cultural Centre. We see this as the knowledge hub that will hold a lot of the learning and the teaching through the Nygina lands and waters.
It's very, very important to their culture coming here to the white man building to teach them. Because it's very, very important to learn their language, learn, see, think. Got to be very aware of everything what's going on. In the sky, down in the ground. Yeah, we know our culture, we know who we are, we're not somebody. We know where our boundary, we know how many language we speak. We know where our parents come from. We know where they belong to, where their roots are. We know that. That's what who we are. Respect our culture. That's what it's all about. We want the money to teach them English, Aboriginal language, respect one another.
Lucy Marshall and Jeannie Wabi have shown very, very strong leadership in terms of the Nygina cultural actions. Over the past 10 years, we've developed books, we've developed stories, we've started to develop a Nygina cultural database. We're just about to produce our Nygina dictionary.
With Modular Inc., we have worked for a number of years now to put these stories together. And so we tell the traditional story, a little bit of an introduction. It's in Nygina language and in English, and with illustrations of a specific site in Nygina country. Then there's a second story about the emu and why the emu has short wings. What did they say to him?
Kananganja ngane wanguta nembaranga.
Kananganja, emu?
You're going to have one short arm.
You're going to always have short arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kananganja ngane wanguta nembaranga.
Jeannie's a very passionate person in terms of being able to keep language and culture alive, and she has committed much of her time in a voluntary capacity and has now taken that to a new level where she's been working with Jeannie Westwood to produce the world's first Indigenous software package, and Jeannie is very excited by that, and she's really made a valuable contribution and has been extremely dedicated to ensuring Nygina language, Nygina stories, and the vision for Nygina people remains into the future. So part of the strategies that we've been developing is looking at micro-industries, looking at the opportunity to showcase and market what we've got on country, the conservation, the biodiversity, the culture, and to be able to produce small micro-development as part of a whole package to look at how each little area, each little group can influence development in their own way and contribute towards a macro concept of developing the Kimberley in a sustainable way. Part of the story, part of my journey is that I've been very, very fortunate in being able to collaborate with a very important person, Ian, my partner. As academics, one of the things we looked at was how could we create a wilderness centre, how could we create something special that was innovative and could be entrepreneurial.
We created the Modular Wilderness Centre as a campus in the bush. We wanted to be able to make ourselves sustainable and build our own resilience through having a sustainable economy, employment for our local people that brings money into the community. But we also wanted to create opportunities for people to learn in the wilderness setting, so they're able to learn information about Indigenous culture and also about the environment. The sorts of industries that the Modular Wilderness Centre will be promoting is things like tourism. So not only creating opportunities for international visitors and people from around Australia to come to the Kimberley and learn about Indigenous culture and about the wilderness, but also to create opportunities for young local people to learn about the tourist industry and also learn about how to engage the environment in a really sustainable way by being involved in land care practices and other ways in which they can build the sorts of industries that they want to be involved in and will take us into the future. It's really important that we diversify within our local region in terms of the sorts of enterprises that we start, because resilience really relies on diversity.
This atmosphere of hope, of energy, of new dreams being built underwent a radical change with the arrival of Colin Barnett as the Premier of Western Australia. His government made it very clear, very quickly, that the Kimberley was now going to be open slather to the mining industry.
What I'm starting to see now in Australia is that the governments are colluding with the corporations and we are being colonised because of greed and rampant destruction of the landscape.
The Kimberley is under attack. We have a Premier, Colin Barnett, who said that he wants the Kimberley to be the next Pilbara. He wants to see mines all over the Kimberley. We know that there's the potential for coal, uranium, copper, diamonds, bauxite, iron ore, zinc, lead, as well as other precious metals. We know that this industry needs an incredible amount of water. We're really concerned that groundwater would be used and what that would mean for all the pools and the billabongs along the Fitzroy River, particularly in the dry season.
The Fitzroy River, or the Yimardoowarra as known to traditional owners, has been listed as a heritage site for the whole of the river. The traditional ecological knowledge to date demonstrates that we are talking about a pristine living water system. Now, the Fitzroy River is connected to water soaks, to springs, and to date we still do not know and understand from a scientific perspective what the relationship is between underground water and surface water.
Salt water comes up, we bring the barramundi up here. No one won't believe you. Into this place, you see fish, see? This is Jarur. Comes from this way and you meet the salt water in here. And this is a place, you know they say Ungur. Ungur place called Ungur. Come past here, and this spirit from here, he said, "Oh, I'm going. I'm leaving Jaruru." See? He's leave this country, he's move on. This Ungur Jagub come here. And this is what they call Jaruru. Ungur Jagune Pendelen Manana Jaruru Ngamangari. Jagune Pendelen Manana Jaruru Ngamangari.
One of the things that's really impacted on the landscape has been a real rush for mining. There's a proposal from a mining company to mine thermal coal on the Fitzroy River. I think it's a very important time when we, as world citizens, need to pay particular attention to what is happening in the Kimberley. There is much to learn from Indigenous people in regards to our journey of humanity.
They think that we people here dumb to our land, but they don't quite understand what it means to us. We have things here that been handed from our great-grandfathers, and as this generation now still carry on the past. And this is more important to us. Even our sacred areas, those are the things that we really don't like the mining people to ruin up. That's the argument we have with the government all the time. But government don't hardly see what the point we really get at. They like to just take what they can see. They just don't know how much they hurt our feelings. It hurts our memories and our families and our young generations. But we hope this time will come when other governments might realize that there's a human being, hardly can read and write, but he still has protection over his land. What he can see, what he can hang on to.
Country of us, place in a country, river and sea, for fishing and not for mining. Now mining here, now mining riverside, now mining in solar side. Now mining. We're not under poison. Poison in river. We're under river for any kind of fish. That's one. We've been born on a river. We got a strong culture. We can dance for this river. We are strong people.
One of the issues that often doesn't come up is what is the real cost of some of these mining efforts. And in terms of often the companies might say, well, the cost is whatever the cost of the equipment and the immediate removal of earth and the labor costs and all that, without talking about what's the cost to the community, what's the cost not only to the physical health of people, whether it's ingesting different materials in their lungs or whatever, like lead in children, the impact on their physical health, but what does it do to cultural health? what does that do when someone loses that connection spiritually? What does it do when a sacred river is so polluted that people can't go there to have ceremony, to drink the water, to bathe, or to do whatever they did traditionally in that river? What does that do to their sense of identity, to their sense of self-esteem, to their sense of who they are as Indigenous people and as in relationship with Mother Earth? And what we've seen, what I believe, is that that continued process of constant attacks on our self-esteem, on sacred sites, is one of the contributors to post-traumatic stress. So it's not just physical health, it's our mental, it's our emotional health that has multi-generational impacts.
We are the native title of a hold of the ground. Our paddock, our boundary. Up at the river, climb up and go down. And he goes back down to sea. And there is no black fellow named. I said, oh, don't be silly. They got every black fellow name right across there and across over the side. I said, every dialect language goes far as their boundary, and that's it. Julian tells you. You cannot cross over that paddock. People know their boundary over there. That's where we drove past.
And so we never set out to be political animals in this process, but the leaders who I'm working with are very strong in terms of what we need to do, because not only are we as traditional custodians have a right to the land, we also have a responsibility to care for the land and all of the other creatures that coexist within that. So in more recent times I've become a Shire councillor with the Broome Shire Council, and it's been an interesting journey in terms of making me more aware of the planning reforms that are being developed by the state government, and how planning reform also encroaches on the rights and the responsibility of local government. So in order for us to have the right to speak from our heart and about our own lived experience, and to some extent to talk about the injustice that's happening on country, is to look at connecting with different opportunities, to look at connecting with different people and networking, and being able to say how can we have a voice in regards to what's happening, and how can we bring some of this knowledge that we know of these experiences not only to people in Australia but to the world. And so part of that process is that the three of us have become involved with James Price Point, with Walmadan, and we were able to work with these senior cultural elders, but also people like Mick Michael and Paddy Nyikina and the traditional owners from Walmadan, and to be part of that process and part of that standing up for country and talking for country and providing a view that everything can't just be about money.
We never born got money. We got enough money from government. We get them food and clothes, just all. That's the money we're using. That's all. We don't want the money. We don't need money.
I think one of the things that people need to understand is that for Aboriginal people, we are told that with native title, we have no power of veto. So in regards to looking after the environment and defending the environment, what I have been able to do is use environmental laws to be able to bring about an opportunity to slow down on the process. In 2010, I was fortunate to go to America, and there was a gathering of 22 Indigenous philosophers that came from all around the world to prepare a statement for the world.
So many people are out there fighting hard and often feel isolated, they feel alone, and simply coming to an awareness that they're not alone, that every Indigenous community around the world in some way is facing similar issues. This world is everybody's world, and we all live here together. And people who make policy about environmental protection often tend to look at universities or scientists trained in a Western way, or other activists who are pursuing their goals, when in fact the group that is most often overlooked and yet has probably the greatest wisdom of any group in terms of relation to the environment are the indigenous communities. And so it's absolutely imperative that these communities be involved in the dialogue in addressing issues like climate change and how to mitigate impacts of other pollutants, and how to work with communities for future development in a way that's sustainable, in a way that can be maintained without impacting the environment. And so including these communities is absolutely critical.
For me, it is about going back and exploring other international covenants and looking at the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights. Early in 2012, we had a rare opportunity. My partner Ian and Magali McDuffie, our friend, we were invited to go to UNESCO to present what was actually happening and what was the story of Indigenous people that we could share with the United Nations through UNESCO. And so we were able to go there and have a conversation. And we believe it's the start of a conversation and an opportunity to create real partnerships with people internationally.
If we are to survive, then we have got to listen to Indigenous peoples, and we've got to build those links between non-Native and Native communities and move forward as partners and in partnership of equals. And coming to the table doesn't mean simply sharing ideas, which is a very important part. It means being part of the decision-making process, not simply being informed after the fact, but being part of determining the steps that are taken forward and being true equals in that process.
One of the things that's very important that I've learned, not just from Nygina people, but from people from the hill country, from Ngarinyan people, is that before white people came, we had a principle called the Wunan Law. And the Wunan Law recognises that in each of the different nations, everyone had their own stories, everyone had their own law, everyone had their own songs, and had their own way of doing community business and coexisting with the land. So the Wunan Law was a regional governance model. It combined all of the nations together under one code of conduct, values, principles for coexistence and co-management. So we're now looking at how can we bring some of those principles into regional governance, into a model that's going to include non-Indigenous people as well as Aboriginal people, caring for the land and for the Kimberley waters.
We can run the country, we know what the rules are, we never forget. Together, shoulder to shoulder. We know what's right and what's wrong. Sorry about that, but we still got our culture. We still got our role. We still got a role to play. Wurrungali is very important to Aboriginal people. Even now, I show my grandchildren, get up on the bank and watch the catfish circling. Little catfish, big catfish. That's a Wurrungali. Yunguru was singing that Wurrungali, the circle, big round. And they tell me, oh yes. No, you're lying. Well, look, you can't see. What are you doing? It's going around. And the little one's going opposite way, like a clock. That's a Wurrungali for the river. And in the moon, you find a circle. That's for the saltwater, big tide, and Waramba, big flood, Ngalila. We know, we're ready. Not only the wireless and the European telling us on the news, oh, the cyclone of the monsoon coming. Yeah, of course, the country is getting wild, angry. The spirits are getting, Mother Nature getting angry. We're losing all the people, washing the country away. And this is got to be stopped by the people. Those people are playing with the nature.
We're at a tipping point, and unless we take action now, unless we are forceful emotionally, perhaps in written documents, in video statements, and in relationship building with governmental entities and scientists, unless we take those steps now, this tipping point means that if it tips too far, we won't be able to go back.
So the final message that I would like to leave the world is a song line that has been sung for many, many, many generations, from the beginning of time, from Bulgaragara. And Jabba Darby used to say, come in Jabba Jabba, come in Nyul Nyul, come in all the different people, come in Mangla people, come to the river, let it feed you, let it soothe your spirit, and then go back to where you came from and tell your people out there how important the river is. And in more recent times, before Jabbo passed away, he was singing a song, come in Japanese people, come in Chinaman people, come in English people, come in French people, come to the river of life, the Yimardoowarra, come and show the world that this is important for all of us, for our humanity. And the song cycle now is to go forward. So all you people out there, come and hear the call from Jabbo, come to the Kimberleys, come and support us, because we are standing up for humanity.